here. If you're easily offended, if you love Ange Postecoglou, shut your ears, go and make a cup of tea or something. If you love Daniel Levy, shut your ears, go and make a cup of tea or something. I'm going to start this by saying I am utterly numb. I am numb to the point where last night is not a surprise. Last night can be the catalyst for my rant. But this is not about last night only. This is a Tottenham Hotspur we are rudderless. We have no leader on the pitch. We have no leader in the management areas, and we have no leader from the ownership. There is no one steering this ship. This ship is almost like the Titanic. It is inevitable that iceberg is about to be hit. And if we haven't hit the bottom of the V that I was told, remember, guys, we've got to hit the bottom of the V before we get better. Nonsense. Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you from a non-biased fan, from a fan that doesn't care what the masses out there on the internet think, because I'll tell you the truth. This football club has got worse over the last 2 years. We have got worse. There is no project. There is no process. There is no youth project. There is no plan. There is no fruit to be bared. Stop. Stop with these words. Stop with these excuses. Stop with this. The club is going backwards. We have the worst manager I have ever seen at Tottenham Hotspur, ever. Yes, we have dreadful owners, but we've had dreadful owners and had managers that still know how to manage and coach. I blame the owners. I blame the owners for bringing in Scott Munn, as my man Lubo will tell you in a minute. I blame them for bringing in Munn, who brings in Ange. But I blame them more for not pulling the trigger. I am bored to death of hearing, well, let's wait for this cup game. Let's wait for that 6-pointer. Let's wait for that cup game. But we're still in the Europa. This man needs to go. He is tactically inept. He is emotionless. He is awful with the press. His tactics, I'm being kind using the word tactics. He has no tactics. And for all of you lot out there that are blinded by, but we attack. We've even stopped attacking. We don't attack. We can't defend. We are like a training game. Teams are turning up against Spurs and ripping us open wide through the middle every single game. And we are sitting there as a fan base and going, but injuries. No, everyone gets injuries. Injuries shouldn't mean that everything just dies. Injuries shouldn't mean that there's no tactical setup. Injuries shouldn't mean that suddenly we can't defend. Suddenly there's no midfield balance. Suddenly our forwards forget how to pass to each other. This is not what injuries do. Injuries are a temporary setback. But as Jamie Carragher said yesterday, love him, hate him, feeling different about him, he was right. He said we are using the excuses of the injuries too much. He said this has been going on for nearly 18 months. This form, these tactics, these mistakes, these blunders, we can't keep saying it's the tactics. They happened before this injury crisis. This manager has had more money than any other Spurs manager has had. And still we hear that, but he hasn't been back with this player. He didn't get this player. He hasn't had this. We have a better squad. I'll argue this in a minute with Lubo. We have a better squad than so many of those teams above us. And yet those teams above us get injuries. And you know what? Somebody slots in. And you know what? They're part of a big wheel, as my mate Ben will tell you. They're part of a big wheel where they slot in and know their function. The whole thing doesn't fall apart because that little wheel has been taken out. This is the worst Spurs team I have seen. The worst. My mates asked me, what? Gross. What? Our dealers? Yes, worse. This is worse. It is a shambles. We have a fan base that want to praise all of these players. But then when we lose, it's the players' fault. Make up your effing minds. Are these kids generational? Are these players brilliant? Bentancur at the weekend We're seeing things like this from football fans. I don't care who this person is, by the way. We're seeing things like this. Look, the most underrated player in the Premier League. Have a day off. Stop it. These are not top players, but they are better than 14th in the league and losing 4-0 away at Anfield. I am sick to death of this excuse. The manager needs to go tonight. And this is what I'm going to say to all you people. I don't want to start again. We don't want a new project. We don't want a new plan. We don't want a new process. Start what again? Start what again? We are at rock bottom. This is the worst I've seen us. This is the perfect time for a new manager to come in and pick up the pieces. There is nothing to start again. We're not well drilled. We're not well coached. Defensively, we are all over the place. The goalkeepers can't catch. The goalkeepers can't play with their feet. They've not been coached. They've not been drilled. The midfield, there's no pattern. Last night, but the injuries. Sarr, Bentancur, Basuma are our three first-choice central midfielders. They are our first three midfielders in the pecking order, but not drilled, not coached. No wonder they're giving the ball away a lot. No wonder they look lost. No one knows where they're playing. No one knows what they're doing. Poor Archie Gray at right back, left wildly exposed, 2-on-1 every time by Robertson and Gakpo because no one is coached. No one is coached. Guys and girls, I'm going to leave it with this for my rant. If this manager is not sacked very quickly, if everybody doesn't put their ego aside that they have been dreadfully wrong about this manager, and I get it. People want to back him. Fair play to you. Back him. But at what stage do you turn around and go, this is shit. This manager is awful. I will leave it there and I will pass over with my first question to the guys. Guys, I've got no problem with losing at Anfield. Mm-hmm. I have a problem with losing like that. Rant over. Sorry.
You don't need to apologise. It was good telly. You should clip it.
I'm going to.
You should clip it.
I'm bloody going to. I told Lubo I was going to, and I am.
I said this last night in the WhatsApp group that we're in. I'm only 29 years of age, so I don't really remember the Christian Gross era. I don't really remember. This is the worst Tottenham team I've ever seen in my life. The worst. They are just horrendous. And what summed it up for me last night is we had two right backs and a central midfielder on the pitch. He played the right back that's good at defending at right wing. He played the right back that's good at attacking at right back. And he played the centre midfielder at left back who's right-footed. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. If you... Not even Sullivan, not even the guys that made Dad's Army and Only Fools and Horses could come up with that. It's so comically... I laughed. I should be miserable about it, but it's funny. It's like watching Mr. Bean and you know he's about to eat the oysters that are off. Or when he walks down the stairs and you see that all the old people and he cut... It's funny. It's funny that he's playing Archie Gray at left back and he's playing the defensively good right back at right wing. It's funny.